In the season finale of Mythic Quest, Ayan pops into the office and he finds a depressed Poppy, and he's got a great idea for her. Blood Ocean, although he doesn't really know what Blood Ocean is yet. So Poppy says, figure out what Blood Ocean is and then I'll worry about it. But Ayan has another issue to worry about because his staff has unionized and threatened to go on strike and has made Melissa their leader after, instead of getting a bonus, they just got an ice cream machine. So David, Ayan, Brad, Poppy, they all meet late at night. And Ayan asks what exactly do they want, and they just want to be paid for their overtime work. So David wants the thing to go away and wants to open up the books with Ayan. But Ayan says, yeah, I don't do books, and I don't do phones, and I don't do time. What I do is Blood Ocean. And then it hits Ayan, an epiphany, if you will, that maybe the Blood Ocean is a potion. At this point, Poppy can't take it anymore. She's emotionally and physically exhausted, so Ayan tells her to go home and get some sleep. So the next day, David meets with Melissa just to get all of her demands, and the only demand she has is that they get paid for overtime. That's it. And David's relieved, thinking that they were going to want some revenue sharing, and she says, can we get that? And David has this awkward pause, because David kind of sucks at this, and Melissa says, maybe you need Ayan, which David takes as an insult, saying, why do you guys love Ayan so much? And Melissa explains that it's because he's right. We need overtime to make the game great. We're not mad about working overtime. It's not like we want to work less. We just want to get paid for working more. And David thinks it's a really reasonable request and goes to call Montreal, but makes the women leave because he doesn't want them to see him like this. So Melissa and Joe leave the conference room, but Joe makes an announcement to the entire staff to take notice of what David is doing. David is calling Montreal and sticking up for their rights until David comes out and says, they fired me. They don't really see this as a union issue. They see it as a David issue, and because of that, they let him go. He asks the employees if any of them are willing to walk out on his behalf to try to save his job, but none of them are willing to do that. Now, one employee that we haven't talked about is Dana, who went back on the stream to do a mea culpa, but it didn't go well. When they finally enabled the chat, it blew up with nasty comments, including her phone number, and her phone started ringing off the hook. It got to the point where Dana just decided to quit the stream. She thought she could go back to her testing job, but there's no job to go back to, and unfortunately, Dana is being escorted out of the building, and Rachel is beside herself at finding out this news. Rachel is frantically trying to save her job and runs down to HR to report the guy that she's working with, saying, well, he harassed me. Actually, he kind of did. He said that he wouldn't have sex with me. Does that count? And the head of HR says, no, actually, that's quite refreshing. He's not doing anything wrong. She then goes to Brad asking if there's any way she can create a new job because she's blaming Brad on this. And Brad says, no, that's not really a thing. We're not creating a new job. We'd have to rearrange the budget and everything for that. Brad reminds Rachel that he gave her a dream job that Rachel agreed she should take. And that's when he realizes, oh my God, Rachel doesn't know how they found out that she was working for MQ. So he goes on the Reddit thread and shows her that one day when Dana was streaming, the users noticed that there was a glare in her glasses. And when they blew up the image, they saw the Nebula Award. And it didn't take long to figure out that the Nebula Award belonged to CW. CW works for MQ with Ayan, and they tied it all together. And now Rachel is blaming herself, thinking that she's the reason why Dana's cover was blown. Now, Ayan has no idea what's going on back at the office because he spent all day trying to figure out what Blood Ocean is. He's gone even so far as to go to the beach, cut his hand, and start walking in the ocean, to which onlookers let him know he really shouldn't do that because he could get infected, to which he responded with, I don't do sick. And while Ayan might not, his immune system does, and in fact, his finger does get infected. And after he leaves the hospital, he heads right to Poppy's and lets her know that he had an epiphany. Blood Ocean is an infection. It's a disease. And Poppy has to admit it's a pretty good idea. But when he tries to usher Poppy over to a workstation, she says, no, I can't do this anymore. And that's when he makes the analogy that Poppy and Ayan are like the Beatles. They might fight, they might not always get along, but when they get together, they make amazing music. And she really likes that analogy until she gets compared to Ringo and not one of the better Beatles. She then loses it on Ayan, saying that you're the creative director. That's why we're always held hostage and we do what you want to do. But you have no idea what's going on in your own company. Did you have any idea that David got fired? Did you know that your employees are about to mutiny on you? But you're so self-absorbed that you can't see that you're ruining this game just like you ruined your kid. And as soon as she says that, she knows that she messed up. She knows that she needs to walk that back. And Ayan just slowly exits as Poppy is trying to apologize. But when he gets back to the car, he does see all these missed text messages from the office demanding to know where he is and trying to fill him in, saying that they needed him at that moment, and he was nowhere to be found. And because of all these missed text messages, it kind of proves Poppy right. So he ends up calling up Montreal, getting David his job back, getting the workers overtime pay, and even gets extra money in the budget that allows them to promote that annoying tester to some bullshit job and get Dana her job back as a tester. And when Poppy enters the office the next day, she's greeted by a bunch of happy employees. and she's ready to puke to find out that they're all praising Ayan because he, quote, saved the day. But when she gets to Ayan's office, she shows him what she'd been working on all night long. It's Blood Ocean, and it looks awesome. But then Ayan says, well, there's one thing I want to tinker. And immediately Poppy starts criticizing him, and he cuts her off and says, I want you to be my co-creative director. He then goes over to a wall and shows her that the company that was there before them, a company that created a video game called A Dark and Quiet Death, the creators had carved their name into the wall. And Ayan, when he got there, carved his name into the wall, and now he wants Poppy to do it so they can be one, and they can be a unified force. And after she does that, they go out and they make the announcement that Poppy Lee is now the co-creative director of Mythic Quest. And that is how Season 1 of Mythic Quest ends. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, or at least give it 4 seconds of heavy thought. If you got this far, I assumed you like it, so hit that thumbs up. But if you thought it sucked at this point, there's a thumbs down button. Share this video if you know somebody that needs a refresher on Mythic Quest. And if you do leave a comment in the comment section, I try not to check them because, well, you saw what happened with Dana. But just know, I really do appreciate you guys checking this video out.